What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is April 10th, 2024, and it is 4:06 in the afternoon. If I look or sound exhausted, it's because I'm mentally exhausted. Today I had a very weak moment, admittedly. I broke a lot of rules. I gambled today. I held and hoped. I did all the things. I did all the things that I try every day to convince other people not to do. But guess what? I'm a human and I do have emotions, and I do believe it's impossible to trade without emotions. And I do believe that our job as traders is to learn how to manage those emotions well enough to keep them from making decisions for our trades. I failed at that today. So with that said, I would like to apologize for the community members in our group today. I'm ashamed about the way I traded. I'm ashamed for the way I behaved in our trades. But with that said, we're going to talk about everything I did, how I hope that people take this as a lesson, not as a reason to do what I do. This is exactly why I tell people don't follow my trades. And for the haters out there, by the way, this is a hypothetical trade. I don't really trade. So let's get that out of the way. And we're going to talk about it. So this morning we had some CPI reports. Obviously, the market did not like the fact that they came in hotter than expected. And while all this was happening, I'm preaching to our community saying how much I hate days like this when pre-market moves big up or down. It doesn't matter. In that I tend to not do well with this type of situation. And what I've come to find is that I was spending a good amount of time trying to beg people to not trade today if they are somebody who hesitates because the cost of their trades are more expensive than normal. Anybody who has a current bias, obviously we look at a move like this and there are a huge number of people who look at that and say, I'm going to play puts at open no matter what's happening because there's no way that this can't continue. Okay, if you have a bias, it's best not to trade. I was also joking around saying I wouldn't be at all surprised if SPY ends up moving up and closing green for the day. Now, we didn't get a green close, but we didn't move any lower than we got in pre-market. Okay, so SPY did move up from where we were. And what I've come to realize is that I think subconsciously I was preparing myself to be extra risky today and potentially going to do something stupid, because that's exactly what I did. Now, what did I do? I believed and wanted to get down to 511.60. You could see the alert that I set this morning before I took my trade. That was my profit target. Okay. I just needed to wait for the reason to get into the trade. My reason came as a result of the Qs breaking what at the time was a solid level of support, right? I said, guys, I'm liking puts more than I am calls, probably influenced by this move to the downside, probably influenced by the fact that CPI came in hotter than expected, been understanding that the Fed's probably not going to cut rates, but the market hasn't accepted that yet. Okay, so I'm fighting the market, leaning towards the Fed side, and I was wrong. Okay, I was wrong because I was playing what I felt the market should be doing and ignoring what the market was doing. Okay, so I wanted to play puts to the downside. I just needed the right reason to try and take the trade. We had a put scenario right here at 512.23. Okay. I got into the trade. We never even touched the line. My call scenario was a close above 514.86, very far away, right? So I wanted to see the market make a strive, make me believe that calls were a viable option. If I would have just followed my own rules, my own plans, I could have made a one and done, nice, easy trade and walked away green. But no, I allowed my bias, this drop, and everything else to do what I ended up doing. Told everybody, guys, if Qs can get below 436.61, I would be much more comfortable with the idea of playing puts aggressively, even if that means we're not below our 5, 12, 23 put line. Don't do what I do. My exact words. This is super aggressive. It's very likely to end up costing me. I'm watching us put in higher lows and higher highs. I'm watching SPY hold a solid level of support, yet I am just fixated on the idea that we are going to break a level of support on the Qs, and that's going to trigger us to sell down to 511.60. I was going for it, and I didn't care if I was going to be right or wrong, because why? I would stop myself out if I was wrong. My entry point was a breach of 436.63 to the downside on Qs. That happened here at 946. My stop loss should have been the moment that support that we had there no longer was acting as resistance, which it never did. We closed above that line and a line of support and resistance that we pulled from earlier this morning. That should have been my exit, and that would have been no harm, no foul. I went for a risky trade. It didn't work. Hypothetical. It didn't work, and I would have lost a little bit of money. Needless to say, I'm being asked by our community members, Jimmy, when are you going to stop out of this trade? And I said, well, as long as the Qs stay below this level here at the time, actually it was this level here. I'll stop out of the trade. Okay. Contracts were expensive as hell. Expensive as hell. It was almost a $9,000 trade for 5 contracts. As we're moving along, following a trend line to the upside, breaking through, here I am making every excuse as to why I need to stay into this trade. Guys, this is the danger of biases. And this is the danger of struggling with the idea that maybe I was wrong on my assessment of my put. It was clear to me. I was watching it with my own eyes, not only on the Qs chart, on the SPY chart. I'm watching the move go against me. I'm watching everything that would make me believe I should be buying calls happen. Yet here I am saying, well, yeah, we're close to a resistance here. We're a little bit past it now, but the next one's not too far away. I was making every excuse in the book to justify the stupidity that I was putting out there today. Okay. I held that trade. Stopped watching my own trade because I had just accepted I am officially a hold and hoper. And this is either going to get down to my dotted line where I will take myself out of the trade, or it can go to zero. None of those were the right thing to do, but it's what I accepted that I was going to do. That was going to be my fate for my trade. It was my trade. I'm allowed to fuck up on my trades. Okay. I'm allowed to have a weak moment, and I'll pay for it if that's the case. So hold and hope I did. Spoke through the entire trade with everybody in our community. Yep, guys, I'm down X amount of percent. I'm X amount of dollars. At the worst, when I was suggesting people get into calls and where to get out of those calls, here I am still holding down 74%. Do the math on that. That was an expensive hold, and it could have been an extremely expensive loss. But I was willing to accept it. At this point, I was locked in. We're going to get to that line. Blind to the oblivion that was, it's not going your way, Jimmy. Cut it, maybe. No. Instead, we were wedging up to our call line. We were waiting for a candle close, not only on SPY, but we wanted Qs to be clear of resistance, which they had right here, pretty strong. Okay, so as the SPY was moving over to its line of call, our call line that we put in at 9:25 this morning at 10:32, fortunately, Qs had just cleared those resistances. That was your entry point to get into calls. We broke, not only on SPY, on the Qs as well, and we ran up to our first target and then our second target, ultimately being the high of the day. Okay, so no, we didn't play, or I didn't play, or some other people might have played the uptrend leading all the way up to that. But if you were respecting the call put lines, There was your entry point based because the cues needed to be clear of resistance. Got in, you made nice money. It was almost $1 move. In fact, it was $1 move if you played it all the way up to the next line. So great trade. I wasn't in it because I was stupidly holding puts. Then, of course, we hit that. We start moving down. Well, this isn't even exciting at this point if you're still holding puts from all the way down here because you're still deep red. And, maybe we'll be right. And here we are talking about, oh, the 10 o'clock candle will save us. Oh, the Fed speaker that's coming on will save us. Oh, maybe the bond auction will save us. Oh, then the 2 o'clock minutes, that'll save us. Guys, you hear me say it all the time. Don't let boredom or hopium justify stupidity, which is something I did all day long today. Then I had a moment of clarity. As we're moving down and trying to trade sideways, nothing is really falling out of the sky. Okay, cues were holding support. This line down here was like concrete on the cues, this 436.78. We did breach below it just a couple of times, but other than that, Q stayed in a pretty tight range, 439.01 to 436.78. Big channel, but it respected the hell out of it. As we're moving up and getting close to 1 o'clock, myself and several other people were still holding on to those morning puts. I said to everybody, guys, look at how much you paid for your contracts. Do yourself a favor. Put a limit order in to sell them at break even. In case this 1 o'clock or the 101 report, which is the note auction, pushes us down to a point where we can get out at break even. Because that was my thing. This whole day I was saying, if I can get down to break even, I'll start trailing my stops so that I don't even care if I make money. If I'm able to get out of this with losing nothing, I would walk away accepting the fact that I was extremely lucky today. And that was it. I don't care if I make profit. As luck would have it, yes, I said luck, no skill in what I did today. The bond auction, which was atrocious, pushed us down, made it to our get out with unscathed level, dipped a little bit farther than that. So there was a time that we were up over $100 a contract, could have walked away with actual profits. Didn't matter. I took the emotions for me out of the trade by saying, hey, my limit order's in. I'm going to leave my hands out of this. I don't want to be involved in this trade anymore unless it moves up and it stops me out at zero, or I get out at break even. Because you know what I would have done if I was doing that trade manually? I would have said, oh, look, guys, we're back to break even. This thing looks like it's got more potential to go down. Maybe we can make it down to my dotted line down there. Maybe we can actually walk away with some profit in this. That's exactly what I would have done. So to avoid myself falling victim to that particular situation, I chose to put a limit in. It got filled. We got out. Several of us. It's not just me. Held through all of this shit today. Not a proud moment. A lucky moment. Glad I didn't go into my birthday tomorrow having lost thousands and thousands of dollars on this stupid trade. So I'm thankful. But the point that I want everybody to take away from this, the haters, pay no mind to this because it's a fake trade anyway, is that I don't care how good you are. I don't care how often you've been doing this, and I certainly don't care how much money you have in your account. The emotional side of trading is the real problem. It's really there. It's a real thing. And if you allow it to creep into your trade plan, it is capable of destroying a lot of things, not just your account, but your confidence, your ability to wake up with a good sense of, hey, I did great yesterday. I followed my rules, win or lose. It's going to affect you tomorrow. Right? When we break rules like that, it's not just a in the moment thing that it affects us. It's a lingering thing, right? And especially if we break rules and get rewarded for it, we start to feel more comfortable with the idea that, hey, maybe if I break rules more often, I can get lucky more often and make more money. Okay. I say that on a day that I broke every rules and got extremely lucky. I will not allow this to be a reason that I justify doing it on a regular basis. And you can't either. Okay? So that's what I want you guys to take away from this video. Not how lucky is Jimmy, not whatever it is that you're going to surmise that this video was intended to do. I had a shitty day today. I fucked up. I broke every rule in the book. I got lucky. It is what it is. I don't do it often. Okay? And I'm trying to prevent other people from doing it. We were able to find good trades worth taking that would have hurt my position even more. In fact, all of them were calls. All of them. Call line. We never touched the put line until later down here, but we weren't talking about playing puts down here. Guys, if Qs break resistance, because we had a white support resistance line here. If Qs get above this line and hold it as support, it's a great time to buy calls. You'd be trying to take it up to this spot here. This was 118. Here's your entry. 118. We ran straight up. Hit resistance. Take your profits. Likewise, the same exact thing here. Guys, if SPY and Qs break this resistance, 135, we had the resistance. If SPY can break above that and Qs can break above theirs, which is right here where this alert is, the move on the Qs should be pretty good. We were aiming for SPY. SPY should go at least to this split candle. And Qs should run up to at least this area right here. Okay, we ended up exceeding both of those levels massively. So whether you choose to get out early or at the pink line or at the resistance that we hit the time before, still a great trade. Okay, so there were trades to be had. The market was all over the place. Volatility was high. Contracts were expensive. We had everybody well aware of what today was going to be as far as costs, where your feelings might be, biases, all this stuff. And I was hoping that more people would take blue books. Today, we did have a green pole over red, but there's a lot of reds, and it's understandable. Okay. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. I don't really have much valuable information to share in this video other than if you're a human being, and you are, if you're watching this, you're not impervious to falling victim to the emotional side of trading. It's by far what makes it the most difficult thing about being successful in this business. By far. It's not even remotely close. It's not the technicals. You guys can all learn technical skills and apply them to your trades and be successful traders if emotions weren't a thing. And I'll close it up with this, because just to show you how the emotions play out. Those of us who were in puts, and I'm referring to Patrick Gates, you asked me to call you out in this video. I'm doing it. He held with me the whole day like an idiot. So did several other people. He was adamant that SPY was going to drop. We were going to get paid. MC, you're in our group too. You were with me. You were through this. You were saying the same thing. You know who was adamant and factually saying SPY's going to drop? We're going to drop. We're going to make so much money. Guess who that was? Everybody who was still in puts. That just goes to show you guys, we're watching SPY, and I was the first one to say this. Guys, here we are advocating for the fact that this has to drop while we're watching it not only not drop, but put in higher lows and higher highs. How much more obvious is us justifying doing what we're doing by trying to convince ourselves that we're going to be right? It's so dangerous. When we get into that state of mind, it is so dangerous for your trades and mine, right? Because that means you're basically telling yourself, and I had already told myself, I'm not going to cut this trade no matter what, unless we get to break even or better. So I'm very fortunate I am extremely lucky and happy that we were able to get out of that trade, because otherwise it would have been a much, much bigger loss. Not a total loss, but a big one. Thousands and thousands of dollars. Hypothetically. Let's not confuse. But with that said, I hope you all had a better day than I did. I hope you prepared, played the chart, caught some of these big moves up and down. After I got into that trade, I told everybody, guys, I'm already breaking rules. This is my one and only trade for the day, no matter what happens. A lot of people were asking me, Jimmy, why don't you take some of these trades that you know have a likely chance of winning? Try and offset some of your... Because every trade I would have taken after this one, even if I was still in this trade, which I was, would have been for the sole purpose of trying to undo that mistake, which would have caused me to be a Holden Hoper in some other trade. Averaging down, all of the things. I would have made it worse, undoubtedly. I didn't want to do that to myself. I was either going to take this loss on the chin or I was going to get lucky. Those were the two options. And that's what we got. We got lucky right here at this time. But with that said, hope you all had a fantastic day. If you got any useful information somehow out of this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join our Discord community, well, we'd love to have you. There's a link down below. I am a human being. I do have feelings. And yes, sometimes I go on tilt. I apologize in advance for that. It is what it is. I'm just honest. And that's it. So tomorrow, again, is my birthday. Our group has given me a half day. So, excuse me. I'll be on the mic until 12 o'clock tomorrow. Hopefully we get a chart worth trading, and hopefully we can clear ourselves from all the crap that we did to ourselves today and move forward with our lives. And that's pretty much it. So until tomorrow, I love you guys. See you.